flowing, it means that there's a high possibility that most of these hydrants are not flowing. There's been times when we are fighting fires, and when the hydrants are not functional, we would have to call on Ghana Water to open that particular hydrant to enable us fight fire within a particular area. So even with the 40%, there are still some challenges there.
These hydrants, are the paths to them cleared? So that I know I have a hydrant at TV3. I'm coming to fight fire at TV3 Touchwood. When I come, will I find that the hydrant is there so that I can easily plug my stuff in, the nozzle in, and then start, pumping water? Or I have to now come and clear some kiosk and fight people and open the... What is the situation on the ground?
I would say it's a bit of everything that you mentioned. It's a bit of everything that you mentioned. As we're speaking on the phone, I mentioned the fact that the markets, they build... I think the last time I was here, I mentioned this unfortunate incident where someone had built their kiosk over a fire hydrant. And some of these assembly guards or municipal assemblies who were supposed to go inspect and make sure that the right thing is being done will just be in their office and sign off. And because someone feels he or she has the legitimate authorization to mount their kiosk, irrespective of what they find there, they just mount their kiosk there.
Wow. This water shortage, what kind of relationship exists between you and the Ghana National Ghana Water Company Limited?
Okay, so our relationship has been okay. We just last
when
week,
you say okay, what do you mean?
Oh, it's been okay. I would say it's
what
been
do you
good.
mean? Explain.
It's been good. Oh, it's been good. We acknowledge the challenge that they face. So then we don't tend to put so much pressure on them. But then again, we'd encourage them to do much more for the Ghana National Fire Service, because obviously with every water bill that you receive, there's an itemized bill on it. That's 1% for firefighting. So I'm hoping that more of such funds will be directed to its purpose of building much more hydrants for us to be
In your engagement with them, what have you come to know as the existing problem? Is it that the government doesn't give them the 1% that is collected from us for firefighting, or that they receive it and they are reluctant to supply the water when you need them?
Well, they've not shared that particular information with us.
Okay.
But last week, for instance, we had the second edition of our fire conference where we engaged stakeholders in our fire in the performance of our duty. We had the Electrical Contractors Association, we had NADMU, and then we had also the Ghana Water Company. So a lot of some of these issues came up, and then we resorted to try and amend them. So we're hoping that moving forward, these recommendations and amendments will be implemented.
Why do people go to fire scenes without water in your tender? I'm sure you've heard that many times.
I've heard it, and I've answered
why
it
do
so
people
many
do
times.
that?
And you see, it's a very unfortunate misconception that people have. Let me make a very funny example. I know you might like your fried plantain. So when you dip your fried plantain in water and you'd have to put it in your oil, you realize that comes out and becomes very disastrous. So imagine fire that involves oil on a large scale, and you go and pour water on it. You can imagine what you'll be looking at. It can be disastrous. Imagine there's gas, and then even with your gas, when you're cooking at home and your water boils over from the utensils and gets on the gas, you see the feedback you get. So when we realize that the fire has to do with electricity, it has to do with gas, it has to do with oil, we have to then resort to especially with electricity, we'd have to call on Ghana, the ECG, to cut power supply to the area. Once they cut power supply to the area, then we're able to pour water on the affected electrical installation. But then we've had situations where people feel they are knowledgeable than the fire officers, and then they go and pour water on it and end up being electrocuted. So then we don't go to fire scenes without water. Even when our appliances are out of commission, even the ones that I'm mentioning that have been out of commission, I can bet you that if you go to any of the stations right now and they open the tank, you find there's water in it.
I saw a video, a taxi with fire officers with fire extinguisher going to a fire scene to fight fire. Then I saw a fire tender. They connected a generator to it. They were trying to start it. The generator was not starting. Is that the true state of affairs?
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately,
Fire officers go to fire scenes in taxis sometimes in the villages.
You see,
because they don't have what?
And you see, and that's why you remember that I mentioned that when it comes to the commitment of the men, officers and men of the Ghana National Fire Service, I'll take my hat out for them because they are committed. They didn't just put their hands in their, and relax that we don't have fire tenders, so we wouldn't go and fight the fire. They tried to make an effort to take an initiative to be able to perform their duty. So I believe those people should actually be commended, and this should be a wake-up call to our authorities and then to the people that procure, because fire service doesn't procure our fire tenders. And if you be honest with me, Johnny, when was the last time you ever heard of any donation to the Ghana National Fire Service from any entity?
Odumja donations.
Yes,
doesn't happen, eh?
No, but obviously a media man. If maybe you've heard and maybe I've not heard, but if you be very honest with me, when was the last time you ever heard of any donation to the Ghana National Fire Service? Be it vehicles, be it anything, nothing. So we are very much under-resourced, and unfortunately, I feel because our men are self-motivated and they try to work, it probably shadows it covers up our work, or it covers up our deficit.
The police are getting retooled. I saw some new vehicles, chopper, all of that. The military same. What have you people in Brown, you and the prisons people, what have you done to the state that you are not? The last time, somebody at the prisons headquarters told me that the last time they got their vehicles changed was under President Mills in 2010. Is that the same with you?
Yes, the last time we got our fire tenders was when former President Mills was in power, and we've had 2 hydraulic platforms donated. That was launched by the Vice President, and then a prototype of a rapid intervention vehicle. As it stands now, we are waiting for a prototype. Yes.
A sensor. For example. Yes,
it's just one. It's at our headquarters right now. So that one is not as big as a fire tender. It's a pickup equipped with the necessary tools to be able to fight, especially vehicular fires, and be able to get to the scene. So that's a prototype, at least to be able to sustain us, with our operations until the arrival of a.
So the bottom line is that since President Mills' time, you have not received any proper facelift?
Yes, apart from the 2 hydraulic platforms that we received.
Now, you tell me, does that not put you and your men at risk?
Exactly. Our men are constantly at risk. Our men put their lives on the line every time. I mentioned yesterday to Captain Smart that there was a crew of 8 that attended to a fire at Spintex sometimes. 8 of them that went, 7 are dead. We have just 1 person alive.
Why? What killed them?
The smoke that they ingested in, it had to do with computers and all these electricals, and they become very toxic. So it became a very big problem. They all died. We've had situations where our men go to the hospitals and they're told to stop smoking. These people are even pastors, but they've been told to stop smoking.
We don't know what they do privately.
No, but then it's because of the smoke that
they inhale. Okay.
Yes.
But don't you have protective clothing, PPEs?
It's not enough. It's not enough. That's, as I said, we are very much challenged.
No, because the team of 4 or so I saw in a taxi going to fight fire with a fire extinguisher, they didn't have any nose masks or anything of that. But the families of the people who died, the 7, may they rest in peace. Have they been compensated?
That one I can't confirm. But then we have a package for people who
internal
package.
Yes,
internal
but
package.
The state has not compensated them.
Not that I'm aware of.
Christmas is coming. A lot more fires, Hamatan, dry season, bushfires, and all of that. Are you ready?
Well, we are doing our part to be ready. Though we are hoping that our plan would be sustainable enough. We are worried that it might not be able to be very well, because then, as I mentioned before coming here, about 226 fires recorded just 2 days, 25th and 26th.
Sorry?
226.
No. I want to get this picture. Between what time and what
25th
time?
25th and 26th.
226
fires. Just these 2 days.
2 days?
Yes. 25th and 26th. In November? No, December, like last year.
Last year,
25th and 26th. Just
200 and what?
26 fires.
2 days?
2 days. And even with that, we had our plans like at Medina working, and then other appliances working. But this time around, it's unfortunate. The one at Wager is not working. Kaswa, I'm not too sure. I'd have to confirm. Amasaman is not working. Ajin Kotuku is not working, but I think yesterday it was fixed. You can mention.
So you're saying that the population is growing, but your capacity in terms of equipment is limited.
And then I'll again I'll put a lot of blame on the assemblies, because look at a place as big as East Legon, Lakeside, Ajengano, Nana Krum. Those places are developing areas.
Right.
You don't have a single fire station there.
Do you recommend for them to have these things? You sit at the table with them?
And yet
at the planning meetings,
we do. But yet,
and what do they tell you?
As a people, we all prioritize our security much more than safety. Everyone will be crying that, I come for high, but they'll never cry that a high. So if there's fire in any, then let me draw this scary picture. If there's fire at Nana Krum, the appliances that should have attended to those fires would have been Adenta or Medina. As we speak, these two appliances are out of commission. So if there's any fire within that area, the car will come from University of Ghana. There was fire to Yarifo over the weekend. The appliance had to move from University of Ghana all the way there. If there's fire at Amrahia, the car will move from University of Ghana.
That is if there's no fire at Amrahia itself or University of Ghana.
No,
if University of Ghana has fire, then they will not move to you at Nanako.
Yes, so it means we'd have to rely on a much further appliance to be able to attend to that fire. So I think there was fire at Amrahia sometime. That time, I think Medina's car was not was in commission. So they went. Our headquarters went, Legon went. The fourth appliance had to come all the way from Pont Katamanso. From Pont Katamanso to
Boom, Katamanso.
Yes. Okay.
One is different.
So, yeah,
one is farther up.
Yes, exactly.
Boom. This one is boom.
You need the base to be able, so that's how far it is. So, we'd call on on our government and
what does the fire service need? ASAP.
We need appliances.
Like what?
The fire tenders. We need the fire tenders. If all the fire tenders in Ghana can be changed, that would be super. If we could get well over, yes. We need the BS set, the breathing apparatus. That's what we're over our faces.
Right.
We need a lot of that to protect our men. We need firefighting tunics. The tunics are the big yellow protective coats. We have overalls, and then we have the tunics, but they are limited. So, and the unfortunate, painful truth is that because they are limited, if Kofi wears it and he's knocking off, and then Kwame is coming on duty, you'll have to wear that same tunic. So
no matter what smell is in there, exactly. Wherever it's taken to.
That's the painful truth.
How often do you clean those ones?
Well, you see, we don't have off days. We are always working. So cleaning them becomes a bit difficult because, once you knock off, unless, of course, probably your appliance is out of commission and, you would be going for firefighting and then you clean it. But other than that, if it's a station where, your appliance is in commission and you are constantly going on to fires, you can't have the luxury of washing them, because if you wash them and there's any fire, you can't go with a wet tunic.
Wow. We have to wrap up the conversation. John, you have a question?
I like that Alex says we should also be speaking with our members of parliament to be pushing them for fire stations in our areas, because this is alarming. Like you said, if the fire tender is already in commission and you have a serious emergency, then you're going to be found wanting. Sure. And I think as a people, we should also prioritize fires like we do with security, because thinking about between 25th and 26th December last year, over 200 fires, and you're never too far removed. It could be happening in your neighbor's property, maybe come over to yours. So we all have to be vigilant. I know last time we also talked about the mental state of our firefighters, because not only are you going there and fighting the fires physically, but I'm sure you see all manner of things, dead bodies, and that also affects the psyche. Has there been any advance on that? Last time you were here, we asked about support for firefighters to be able to also check the psyche. Is there anything happening in that front?
Yes, so I know our religious department has a counseling section and that have started. I think we need much more tools to be able to fully get it running very well. And you see, unfortunately, apart from fires, we also do accidents, as I've always mentioned.
Right.
So whenever there are accidents and people are trapped, when you call the police, you might end up watching on while someone dies because the police will come, direct traffic, maintain law and order at the scene. But when the people are trapped in there, it's the job of the Ghana National Fire Service to come and do what we call extricate and create space and bring. And you see, in Ghana, we all have the brotherly love where when an issue happens,
fellow feeling.
In trying to help the person, you might end up killing the person. Because if you don't hold the person well,
it has to be done professionally.
In a very professional way, you might end up damaging the person's spine.
Let me ask you this. One of my fathers just sent it to me. He says, are you ready for electric vehicles and the fires that may come from them? Is the Ghana Fire Service ready?
I would say if with the RIV, the Rapid Intervention Vehicle, where we have a prototype, yes, that one might be able to work for if we're able to get more of it in, because that one is equipped with the foam concentrates and water. And for electric fires like that, foam concentrates are the best approach to, if you don't have an extinguisher.
Okay.
The foam concentrate is the best approach to fighting some of these fires. So once we have more of the rapid intervention vehicles coming, it can be able to fight fires like that.
But as it stands now, beyond the prototype, are you ready?
We are ready. I would say we are 50% ready.
I don't understand you. Explain.
Because obviously, as I said, with our logistical and infrastructural challenges, it becomes a problem. You see, and I would have to admit this without unequivocally that you see the kind of logistical and infrastructural investments and donations that our other sister services receive are not at par with fire service. And we'll call on the government, we'll call on organizations, we'll call on well-meaning Ghanaians to help equip the fire service. Trasacco and all, we don't have a single fire station there. If there's any fire there, the car would have to move all the way from University of Ghana to that place.
Well, I was asking, do you still have issues with high-rise buildings and the equipment to fight fires? And how high can you fight fires in Ghana now? How high in terms of story?
I think we can probably fight like 15 floors. We are challenged. We are very much challenged. There was fire at Gallery, I think some months ago. Personally, I was there, and I think it was on the 8th or 9th floor. At that time, the turntable ladder was not even around, so our men had to use the stairs to go and lay hose all the way from the top and bring it down to the floor.
Your men can't rappel? They don't know how to rappel?
We know,
and
we know how to rappel, but we don't have the rappelling equipment, to be very honest.
So what do you have?
Because you don't have anything. I mean,
it's unfortunate. It's unfortunate.
So this monoammonium phosphate powder, do you use it because of the hydrants issue?
No, we use the foam concentrate,
but you don't use the powder.
The powder, we use the fire extinguisher. You know that the powder fire extinguisher to fight electrical fires and all. But it's not. It's something that we have it in some of our tenders that we use to fight fires, but
because of the hydrant issue that you
the hydrant is a problem.
That one you don't have.
So it's a wake up call. You see.
They have nothing Ghana National Fire Service.
You see, and it's unfortunate because you see the fire at Omanjo, for instance. I was very worried because as a Ghanaian, I was worried not as a firefighter, but I was worried as a Ghanaian because at the end of the day, looking at the fact that the appliance has to move all the way from Dankwa Circle to Omanjo was a very worrying situation.
Your training, you're not even considering modern trends.
We are considering modern trends.
You need equipment to even train. How do you train? I mean, I'm looking at the equipment.
He is worried, first of all, about what they have now.
That's the point I'm making.
And what they are dealing with.
Exactly. So looking forward, you can't even do anything.
Because if a fire tender has to leave Dankwa Circle to Omanjo,
yeah,
it's a problem.
And from also to draw more scary pictures, it's we don't have our tender at Ashaman has been out of commission for some time now, for almost 6 months, if I'm not mistaken. So if there's any fire, the crew at motorway move all the way there. Basically, I think their plans was out of commission. So when there was fire at Beachley, the car had to move all the way from the motorway to Beachley.
You are contending with rough roads, traffic.
Exactly.
the nooks and crannies.
Exactly, and people not giving us the right directions to the scene of fires. It becomes we should have ideally even have these modern appliances fitted with GPS.
But I thought the Ghana Post GPS is supposed to be there. Jack, where are you? We spent a lot of money on it. Mr. Digitalization has been talking about it.
We're hoping that it can be implemented in the new appliances that they might
so that it's inbuilt in the vehicle.
Yes, so
Try
we can
Google
get
Maps. Sometimes I can take you into the sea. No, because of the way our streets are named.
Fire service is really struggling.
You really have to launch a campaign.
And I would say this
for the fire service.
exactly.
You really have to do.
I would say this. I would say this without fear of contradiction that we need to do something. We are sitting on a time bomb here in Ghana. I can count the number of fire plants that are working, and the one at Flags House obviously is working. The one at Parliament, the one at Ministries, the one at our regional headquarters, national headquarters.
So the big men are secured. For those of us who are more brower in the cities, and this is a crowd.
But even with the big men, I would say they're not fully secured because if the fire gets out of hand, where we need about 15 or more appliances, then we'll be in trouble.
So it means that we're not disaster ready as a country. Stricto sensu.
Well, our
personnel
personnel are disaster ready.
No, it's not about you because
the tools that would use to.
We're talking about all of it. All encompassing, because
all you said is Accra.
I'm not even going beyond Accra. I'm just saying Accra. Are we disaster ready? And I'm asking this because you keep insisting that your personnel are ready, but the equipment that will help you to deliver is not there. The equipment are not there, so that we are not disaster ready.
Well, I would say we are,
because if you're a baker, for example, you can knead the dough, do everything, mold, and do. If you do not have an oven, or you have an oven, you do not have fuel for the oven.
Even as you've come here, if your microphone was not working,
yes,
you're probably speaking to the air. No one will hear you.
You are not air ready.
Exactly. And the thing is that the thing is that because our appliances are custom made, they are not appliances that you can go and then just buy them like you are buying your Corolla or your Benz on the markets. You'd have to send in your specifications, and then they are made based on the specifications that you send.
Can Kantanka create a fire tender for you? Have you engaged him?
No, I would have to ask that one is above my pay grade. I'll have to ask.
Alex Kim, we have to go in wrapping up with us on this conversation. What are the takeaways? Again, rehash what the Ghana National Fire Service needs ASAP.
Okay, so the Ghana National Service needs a lot of support. We need the assemblies setting up to set up more fire stations for the Ghana National Fire Service. Just as they prioritize our sister services like the police, where they have police stations almost everywhere, they should know that the police and the fire go hand in hand. So once they are looking at setting up police stations, they should look at setting up fire stations. Our government organizations and well-meaning individuals should also do their best to help us secure fire tenders. We've had situations where one of our commanders at Winneba, on his own initiative, was able to get a fire station in America, donating a fire tender there. So when you go to our station at Winneba, you'd see that there's a different type of fire extinguisher there. So well-meaning Ghanaians who have links with fire stations outside can equally help in bringing in fire tenders to at least. So East Legon, for instance, we have in Trezako, we have a lot of well-to-do people that they could employ on the assemblies.
So you want a lot more fire stations set up, and then you want the government to support
with logistics.
Assistant Divisional Officer 1 Alex K. Nate of the Ghana National Fire Service, thank you for your time. We're grateful.
It's a pleasure
that you could speak to us this morning. And when we return from this break, I'm sure we can give you the microphone and hear from you what you have to say about your safety and security. It's important. See you shortly.
Usika seme nkoyiana quick credit sia say sika pe enna fom intina yaba say be church